Hello, my name is Walter Siebert. Today I'm talking about my research about ropes, harnesses and slings. If you look into the manual says if older than 10 years you must discard and destroy. If it's new. If it's used, then you have to destroy it earlier. In my research I wanted to find out if this is true or false. I took old ropes, for example this. I found out that this rope, it was on a swing in my old flat. This rope is more than 40 years old. How did I find out? In old pictures. Now we're gonna do a load test like I did it in my research with all the old ropes. I put it here between this, and now we will start the engine. Six kilonewton, 7, 8, 9 and 10. Okay, as you can see, the blue line is the highest peak and it was 9 kilonewton. This rope is minimum 42 years old and I used it in many climbs. And it still holds more than 9 kilonewton. In this chart, on this scale, is the force, and here is the age in years. Here you can see 40 years. Okay, this picture doesn't really show a correlation between age and braking load. Now a very important question is, what is the limit where I have to look on the ropes below that line? I personally took 9 kilonewton, which is here. 9 kilonewton have enough safety factor because the maximum load in a hard fall, climbing fall, is below 6 kilonewton. It's below 5 kilonewton even. So 9 kilonewton was my personal limit where I looked more to the results. So in this diagram you see number 1 are permanent top ropes, and here are all other ropes. So what you can see is that below the 9 kilonewton line there are only 3 ropes that are not top ropes, and those are clearly damaged ropes which everybody would throw away. So all ropes with a braking load below 9 kilonewton were permanent top ropes from climbing gyms. So I decided to have a closer look on those top ropes. I decided to build a top rope simulation device.
That's good.
Okay, now let's have a look on the braking load. Now I measured the braking load of a sample after 800 cycles. In this diagram you see the results. Here you see the number of the cycles, that means how many times did a rope go up and down. That means here, for example, 1000 times. Here is a braking load of the sample. And let's look at this spot. This rope was cycled 2000 times up and down and had a braking load of about 1300 kilos or 13,000 Newton. And every spot is a sample with different cycles. The orange dots are the comparison of a new, unused, uncycled rope. Now you can see that in the beginning this is a new rope, and after a few hundred cycles the braking load goes down to about half of the original braking load. And then there is a long plateau phase for a couple of thousand cycles. And then at the end of the lifetime, which is here between 7,000 and 8,000 cycles, it goes down again. So the rope you just have seen is this. It was after 800 cycles and it had a braking load of 16,000 Newton, 1.6 kilonewton. And that means here is a new dot. And here I took always 2 samples every 1000 cycles. Only in the beginning I had a lower rate. I tested 3 different types of ropes. This is, I would call it, the classic construction. Inside the sheath there are 12, 14 strands. This is a modern climbing gym rope, and you find one woven braid inside the sheath. And this is a very modern rope where you have problems to separate the core from the sheath because it's glued together. So the core is glued to the sheath. And now let's look to the results. All show the same curve, but this rope only has about 4,000 cycles, 4,000 up and down. This 8,000 cycles, and this 35,000 cycles. That means it holds about 10 times as long as this rope. So one outcome of my research is that the cycle bending damages the core due to the friction between core and sheath. The temperature is much higher in the middle of a rope, and under the microscope you can see the damage of the fibers. The bad news is you cannot see it from the outside, this damage. Therefore, I would not use top ropes for any other purpose. So the results of my research. You can use ropes up to 40 years old as long as they are undamaged. Damage, for example, is this. So there is one exception. What I would not recommend is use permanent top ropes for other purpose than for top roping. What you should not do is take such a permanent top rope, cut it somewhere in the middle where it's permanently bent, tie a knot, attach it, and then jump factor 2, fully load into this rope. In the middle it could be weaker than the force. That means that it could break under your impact force.